Night of Champions is in the books. Tonight, June 27th in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. SAMI ZAYN is your new WWE champion. OBA FEMI is your new king of the ring. And Io Sky is your new queen of the ring. No interferences in those matches. Big surprises. A lot of us very cynical. We were expecting Brock Lesnar to come in and interfere with Oba, winning the King of the Ring. He's going on to SummerSlam now. He's facing the champion. As soon as that happened, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you what's up. As soon as that happened, I knew Sammy was most likely going to win this because he's going to be the one to face Oba FEMI, and he's going to drop that title real quick to Oba FEMI. They're going to push him. They're going to push him to the moon. You know, a lot of people wanted this, and sometimes the WWE, they can't help but listen. And I remained cynical, thinking that it wasn't going to happen. And if me being wrong, right, is going to, make the people happy, then, hey, I don't want to be right. So let's get into this. The Night of Champions, for the most part, overall, despite all the surprises we got, the good, the bad, the ugly, there was, this show was about a B+, B. It's a B, all right? So you can call it a B, you can call it a B+, a B-. We're going just straight up letters, no pluses, no minuses. It was a B show. We're going to get real into it. The King of the Ring, the first match, only went about 7 minutes and 55 seconds, okay? Did what they needed to do. Not take nothing away from Jey Uso. A lot of people have been hating on him because they so much want Oba to go be pushed to the moon, win SummerSlam, win the title, and just start this big massive reign. And I'm all for that. And maybe people are just kind of done with the idea of Jey Uso being in the main event, no pun intended, being a world champion. But if you haven't noticed, fans still engage with Jey Uso like no other. He brings a certain energy to the shows, week in and week out. So you can't help but notice that his push is warranted. Number two, he puts a good match with everyone he works with. Not an excellent banger of a match, but the things he can do in the ring with others, he's really solid. So he's a good hand. That's putting it lightly. He's a great worker. Someone that can be trusted in the ring with just about anybody, and that's why he's being pushed. He's a veteran. He's got so much experience. He's been with the WWE this whole time. So I wasn't going to be too upset if Jey Uso was going to walk out of this, but they did the right thing. They have Oba FEMI, your new King of the Ring. So we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the issues with this match, particularly a certain tap, if you will. So I'll say it right now. At one point, Oba FEMI was striking the mat with his fist, trying to build momentum to break the hold, a sleeper hold by Jey Uso. And apparently Jey Uso's on line talking about it was a tap. I noticed it when I saw it. I was like, I wonder if that would be considered a tap. But you look at his face, you look at him, what he's doing. A tap is literally like this. It's not just a couple times. It's several times, you pretty much tell the referee, I quit. With that. Okay, you don't look like you're about to build momentum to break some sort of hold. So I really hope that the WWE isn't going to push that story or that little thread and pull that little thread and turn it into one hot mess. I think we know where we're going with this. But let's talk about this match. Like I said, 7 minutes and 55 seconds was a quick match. Began with Jey Uso and Oba FEMI locking up. FEMI tosses Uso, right? Uso responds, knocking FEMI back with several strikes. You get two tope suicidas. FEMI attempts to fall from Grace, but Uso counters, flips out. Super kick directly to the back of FEMI's head. FEMI chokeslams Uso. Eventually, though, Uso delivers 3 super kicks, spear, Uso splash, a near fall on OBA FEMI. He then applies that sleeper hold, and Femi powers out of it. Delivers a pair of running uppercuts. Before you know it, you get a fall from grace, and the match is over. So we'll see what happens on Monday Night Raw. Will Jey Uso show up and start acting like OBA FEMI tapped? That would be kind of a petty little move by Jey Uso. Honestly, though, that begs the question: who is Obi going to challenge? I really think he's challenging Zayn. I think he's challenging for the WWE Championship, and that is where he belongs. He needs to stay away from Roman Reigns. He doesn't need to be faced. I get that. I get that. This past Monday Night Raw, there was a little bit of a reaction when he mentioned facing the WWE Champion or the World Champion, and then, addressing Jey Uso, telling him to give his bullets to his cousin Roman Reigns, because that's the real threat. However, the WWE Championship right now is, primed for someone like Oba Femi to win this. A big, massive babyface. I don't see Roman Reigns dropping the title anytime soon. I don't see him losing that title for at least until WrestleMania. I see Sami Zayn as a transitional champion for an Oba Femi. If that's the case, so be it. We can talk about where some of the other players, like, say, Gunther, who, of course, I was rooting for on this one, but the more the night carried on, and the more this past week has carried on, you kind of felt that they were going to give it to Sami Zayn. And with that entrance, right, he was definitely primed. We'll talk about that. So, moving on to the Queen of the Ring, right? Io Sky against Liv Morgan. This one went exactly as it needed to. Went 14 minutes and 58 seconds. Again, there were some good spots in this match, and we'll talk about it. The outcome was what I wanted. However, I told you in my predictions that if Io wins, it just makes no sense that she is not the women's world champion. So now she's challenging Liv Morgan. After, yes, she defeated Liv Morgan, she's now challenging her. This is just making no sense. What did she just completely, cleanly beat Liv Morgan to earn a title shot? That makes no sense. And God forbid she loses that match. Again, just, that would be a classic example of the WWE just trying to troll the audience and trying to just, make us frustrated. Not in a good way. Not in a way that makes us necessarily want to continue watching. More like this just is nonsensical, and we should have seen a Liv Morgan. At this point, she's just, her title reign is worthless. So we'll talk about that a little more. But the match starts with a strike exchange, some connecting, but not so much. They fight it. They take it out of the ring. Sky hits the crossbody off the ring barricade. Morgan whips Sky into the ring post, puts herself, back in the driver's seat. Back in the ring, Morgan viciously kicks Io in the rib area, and then exchanges some offense. After sending Sky face first in the ring post, Morgan took control back in the ring. It was Morgan who applied the hanging sleeper hold and then hits the diving facebuster, followed by three amigos, those suplexes, and an enziguri. Sky, though, escapes a Boston Crab by Liv Morgan, lands a double stomp. Sky delivers knees to Morgan in the corner, missile drop kick, does a kip up, starts to build momentum. At some point, Sky hits Asai moonsault to Liv on the floor. Sky's leg, though, she gives up as she tries to hit the ropes. Back in the ring, Morgan takes advantage, connects with a code breaker for a near fall. Morgan sets up for Oblivion, but Sky escapes, goes to the top. Sky leaps, but Morgan avoids it. Sky clutches her knee on the landing. Io fights through it, though, delivers a Spanish fly off the corner, follows that with over the moonsault. Hits the 1-2-3 and tells Liv Morgan she'll see her at SummerSlam. It's ways away, but I do expect to see more heat between Liv, Raquel, Roxanne, and that will probably lead to a match when the match actually occurs. If forget if and when Io Sky beats Liv Morgan, it should be at this point. It should just be at the result of some distraction or interference from Roxanne or Raquel, because for Liv to take 2 clean beatings, heel or no heel, and as much as I love Io, it would really just put an exclamation point on what was a terrible world title run. It just is unnecessary. So, yeah, enough's enough with the. I'm just glad that Liv Morgan is, and this whole Queen of the Ring is over. We're done with it. It could have been so much better, but I'll move on. I'm glad Io won. She deserves a world title, and she needs to be in that place. She puts on so many matches, week in, week out, banger after banger. She's so ready to be in that position. So there you go. Now, the longest match of the night, the steel cage match between Seth Rollins and Bron Breakker. And this was another match that this one in particular had me quite wondering why. Why would they let the veteran beat Breakker when he needs to be pushed past this? He's the one that should have walked away with a victory. Looking back on this, I understand why they went with Rollins. I think this sets up Rollins as the number 1 contender for Roman Reigns. If this didn't do it, I don't know what does. Maybe another match for the number 1 contender spot for Roman Reigns' title at SummerSlam, in which case he would win it. I mean, they could surprise us and put someone in like Bron Breakker, since Breakker already took this loss to end the feud. But I do see Rollins versus Roman Reigns at SummerSlam. Kind of set it up for that. A lot of people asking about what's going on with Bron Breakker after this. Maybe we'll talk about it. So Rollins comes out to a big crowd chanting his song. I will say this. The Riyadh crowd was engaged. They were hyped. It's no wonder. I mean, can you imagine what it's going to be like at WrestleMania? Make no mistake about it. The Middle Eastern audience is very much dedicated to wrestling. They love wrestling. What can we say? It appeals to our imagination. It's great stuff. Which, made no surprise as to why Sami Zayn won. He's a big fan there. I will say this, though. I was kind of, if he was to lose, I know I'm kind of jumping off point here, but if Sami Zayn was to lose tonight, it wouldn't have been the worst thing. Because I honestly would have much rather seen him win in Quebec. As much as the Saudi audience loves Sami Zayn, I think that no one gives Sami Zayn their love as much as Canada, particularly in is Montreal, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. Go back and watch one of those. It was the SmackDown, I believe, before his match with Roman Reigns in Canada. He got so much love. Anywho, this one went 19 minutes and 3 seconds, the Bron Breakker Rollins match. This was the longest match of the night. I guess it makes sense seeing as how it was a steel cage match. I do love the way that I love Bron Breakker's music, the way it starts. It's just vicious. But both had really cool entrances. I like the way Rollins comes in, throws in some trash cans and kendo sticks and chairs and whatnot, tables, all types of stuff they're going to use for the cage match. He sits down on a chair, as does Breakker. I mean, before the bell rings, or just, I guess when the bell rings, they are sitting there just staring at each other. I love that shot. Taking their time with this. Rollins telling Breakker, we're going to find out, what kind of a man you are, and then they just jump at each other. They leap at each other, start hitting each other. And eventually, Rollins gets the better, gets the upper hand. Tries to send Breakker into the cage. Breakker stops him. Hits the German suplexes. He even gorilla presses Rollins. Throws him against the cage. And Rollins catches Breakker with a leapfrog. Catches the Breakker from attempting the leapfrog. Turns it into a powerbomb. He then Rollins uses the kendo stick, beats Breaker until it just snaps. Rams Breaker into multiple sides of the cage, back and forth, drives Breaker's head against the cage before setting up a table in the corner. Rollins piles chairs on the Breaker, went to the top rope, but Breaker intercepts him, hits the Frankensteiner, sends Rollins, down into a pile of chairs. That's awesome. Sets Rollins' head through a chair. He's talking about, I'm going to kill you now. It's getting intense real fast. I loved it. Wish there was a little more of that in this match. It had its ups and downs. It was like it's a roller coaster. Like I was expecting this match to go into full gear after that, but it didn't quite go into full gear until the superplex, which we'll talk about. Rollins, he jumps out of the way before he gets smashed in the head with a chair. Hits his offense. He fires, hits the super kicks. One that sends like a steel chair into Breaker's face. But at one point, Breaker just jumps up. He's fired off this image. He's just, just looking like he's about to explode. Then delivers massive spear on Rollins. And somehow Rollins kicks out. Then Breaker, he delivers a springboard clothesline to Rollins, who is seated in a chair. But Rollins kicks out again. Breaker then puts Rollins on a table, climbs to the top of the cage. Rollins, though, jumps on the cage, and that's when he hits this superplex on Bron Breaker. And this is when things start to pick up. Rollins eventually hits the pedigree, a stomp. Breaker kicks out. Breaker hits Rollins again with the massive spear. I think that was the moment where he was really, blood on his face. I wasn't expecting this match to have color. I was very, very impressed with the second half of this match. So Rollins follows up. After Rollins hits the pedigree and the stomp, Breaker kicks out. I really thought that, Breaker was going to win this thing. I mean, after that, what else could there be? But Rollins does eventually hit an avalanche stomp and gets the win. At one point, I was expecting... at one point, Breaker, he did try to escape the cage, and Rollins, pulls him back in and tells him, be a man, face me in the ring, try to take me out inside the cage. And I guess uses that to his advantage because, Breaker misses a spear, and that kind of leads up to the avalanche stomp. Well, like I said, 19 minutes, just over 19 minutes, longest match of the night. It was good for what it was. It wasn't like the most epic cage match we'll ever see. It wasn't that brutal, but it did what it needed to do. My real question now is where the hell do things go for Breaker? A lot of people are asking that question. If they have a number one contenders match, and it's multiple people, like a six-pack challenge or something like that, and Bron Breaker was to win, that would make sense because he put on a hell of a match. And just because he lost this match doesn't mean he can't get an opportunity at the world title. And he would make it for one of the best, probably probably the best candidate to face Roman Reigns. Obviously he wouldn't win it, but at least he'd be on the card, the marquee for SummerSlam, and be a threat to Roman Reigns. He would be just as good as anybody else. Of course, Rollins right now, it does kind of make perfect sense for it to be Rollins versus Reigns. We've been building it up for, well over a year, and let's go for it. So, probably since the last WrestleMania, they're not this past year's WrestleMania, but the year before, with the triple threat between Rollins, Punk, and Roman. So, and not to mention his help, his assistance with Cody Rhodes in WrestleMania 40. So there's a lot of story there. So it makes sense for them to go at it. Although I was kind of hoping they'd push that thing all the way to the next WrestleMania, but we'll see. I think that makes sense, though. That's where we're going. So, yeah. However, again, and it's I almost forgot, but I want to think about Breaker. The only alternative at that point, this gives him some time. There's multiple things you can do with Breaker. Giving him opportunities like that, keeping him, with the Vision. Some people were saying things like, turn him babyface and have the Vision go against him. hey, stranger things have happened, but I don't think that's the right route for him right now. He's not really a babyface. Yeah, you could turn him into like an anti-hero. I don't know if he's ready for that. It would be cool if he maybe paired up with somebody like LA Knight and Solo Sikoa, who are kind of a pair of anti-heroes as well. I don't know. I don't think he's technically the leader of the Vision. If he was to get kicked out, that would be essentially the end of the Vision. That's it. I mean, it would be two guys, and I don't even think Paul Heyman would be that involved in it anymore. But because Bron Breakker really is the guy. I think if you just keep him involved with the happenings of the Vision, put him in some opportunities here and there, that's great. Maybe even, this is dare I say, if you put him in a match in SummerSlam, it could be a feud match. The other option is to actually have someone have him go up against Penta and just beat him. Beat him at Sunday night's main event. The one I believe that it's either that one or it's Saturday night's main event on July 18th. Have him take the Intercontinental title. I think Penta's done everything he can do with that title. What else can he do with that title? He goes on to SummerSlam, faces Chad Gable. Okay? Now, that would be very good. Because, honestly, on the one hand, you expect Chad Gable to win the Intercontinental title in Minnesota, in his hometown. SummerSlam, great moment. However, that would mean Bron Breakker would only have had the title for about a month. And as good as Chad Gable is, that's how good Bron Breakker is. Break the hearts of everybody. Have him beat Chad Gable in his hometown at SummerSlam. I mean, while people might be upset because Chad Gable has clearly earned his spot as an IC champ, and to have that moment in Minnesota, you can't dispute the fact that a Bron Breakker can pretty much shatter anybody's dreams on any given night. So that would make a lot of sense. To have him be the IC champ now, for now, and, just be the guy with that title, Then the other option is, again, like I said, have him have a match at SummerSlam, kind of maybe a Vision match with him and Austin Theory and Logan Paul versus 3 other guys. Something like maybe the Street Profits, who have also been feuding with the Vision since they just did win the tag titles over them, and maybe a third member. There was, of course, issues between the Vision and Javon Evans. Something could happen there, or there could be someone else involved. And kind of carry him over past SummerSlam until he gets back into a place where he can actually challenge for the world title or the WWE Championship. Because sooner, or a mid-card title where he gets a hold of the IC Championship or the United States Championship on SmackDown. He could do it. None of these rules really apply in terms of the brands. And so, sooner or later, a Bron Breakker is going to be a world champion. Don't worry about that. I think a lot of people are. But, yeah, have no fear. He is the future of this company, alongside an OBA FEMI. Okay, moving forward to the WWE United States Championship. Trick Williams versus Ricky Saints. Went 10 minutes and 41 seconds. This was the most predictable match. And as much as I love Ricky Saints, and I liked his promo on Friday night, and the way he was able to kind of, outsmart Trick Williams and Lil Yachty, it was just kind of a slam dunk. Trick Williams is going to walk away successfully defending the title. But to start the match, Saints attacks Williams, right? Grabs Lil Yachty's kendo stick, smacks it against the ring steps, throws him. He throws himself on the ground, drops him down to the floor, acts like Yachty had struck him, causing the ref to think that Yachty had struck Saints. The ref then ejects Lil Yachty from the ring area. And then Saints, starts attacking Trick Williams. He's very methodical, very sneaky is Ricky Saints. Tries to get his near falls, can't do it. Saints executes clothesline from the top rope, follows up with crossroads for a near fall. Williams hits him with a pump kick. Saints responds with a forearm. Williams catches Saints with a hangman's neckbreaker for a near fall. Saints avoids a trick shot. Caught Williams with a tornado DDT. Saints came off with the top for an elbow and a near fall. Williams ducks a clothesline. Hits the trick shot out of nowhere for the pinfall. Another match. After the match, Lil Yachty returns, hits Saints with the kendo stick, delivers a people's elbow. Go figure. Okay. So purely entertainment value, and that's fine. You know, it was kind of a feel-good moment. And like I said, honestly, Ricky Saints, I don't think he has much to worry about right now. He's too good on the mic. He kind of delivers a very legitimate attitude, and he's good enough in the ring, you know. So he's still fun to watch. There's no problem that he took the L. He'll be back, and sooner or later he will be a mid-card champion. Okay, then we get WWE Women's United States Championship. This was, I believe, the quickest match of the night. Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. Its placement on the card suggests, it's the bathroom match before the main event, right? So, again, nothing wrong with that. Bell rings, Tiffany Stratton. She gets the upper hand on Jade Cargill, delivers basement dropkick right off the bat. Big right hand, though, from Jade. Cargill picks up Tiffany for Eye of the Storm. Stratton slips out. They take it outside. Cargill delivers a knee lift to Stratton's face, sends her back into the ring. Cargill drops Stratton, and a near fall, then throws Stratton back outside, continues the attack. Tiffany eventually rebounds, catching Cargill with a drop kick. Stratton, back in the ring, scales the ropes, attempts the prettiest moonsault ever. Cargill gets her knees up. She was prepared. Cargill delivers the sandstorm, right? Apparently that's her modified version. I mean, I know most people probably know this, especially if it has to do with Kenny Omega. It's like her version of the one-winged angel. Stratton kicks out. Nobody kicks out of the one-winged angel. Let's make that clear. Waiting for somebody to just be like, oh, no, it actually happened just recently, or it happened on AEW Dynamite the other day, or AEW Collision that one Saturday back in May of 2023. No. B-Fab and Michin show up to interfere, giving Cargill the opportunity to deliver a choke slam for another near fall. Eventually, Chelsea Green and Charlotte Flair coming to the aid of Stratton. And at one point, Charlotte hits Cargill in the face with the title belt. Stratton hits the prettiest moonsault ever for the win. Boom. 7 minutes, 35 seconds. Great. Did it need to be? I mean, this is what I'm talking about. This is fine because it's the bathroom match. You want a perfect A show. You can't really have matches like this on the card. But as predicted, Stratton successfully defends the title. Okay, and we'll move on from there. We'll eventually see another program with Charlotte Flair and Jade Cargill. So, and I think again we'll eventually see Stratton and Cargill. You know, or we'll see Stratton and Flair. Stratton's not holding on to that title. You know, sooner or later she's going to drop it to someone like a Flair or a Cargill, right? So, yeah. Like I said, these two matches, like the Ricky Saints Trick Williams match and the Tiffany Stratton Jade Cargill match, those were kind of the low end of the mid-card title matches. So they weren't that big a deal. They were easy to figure out. Like I said, Rollins versus Breakker. Was hoping for Breakker. But again, I told you then that WWE loves to push their seasoned veterans, these days. However, they're pushing OBA. They can't help but push OBA. They can't get away with pushing Jey Uso past OBA FEMI. They can get away with Seth Rollins past a Bron Breakker. Okay, he is too involved. He's too close to Triple H. So it's not gonna happen. And knowing where we're going with that, it makes sense now. So things are the clouds are starting to clear up. The confusion, the nonsense, starting to clear up. We're starting to understand where they're going with this. Then we have the Undisputed WWE Championship. Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes versus Gunther. Cody Rhodes, being the champion, loses it to Sami Zayn. This match was 18 minutes and 38 seconds. Still the second longest match of the night. A lot happened here. Did they make the right call? Who's to say? I kind of feel like I know where it's going. Sami Zayn is a transitional champ. He's going to drop it. Not going to hold on to it too long anyways, but let him have his moment. He deserved it. He earned it. He probably should have been champion a long time ago. So, at the same time, Gunther, he's owed a WWE championship, but sooner or later he's going to get it. I do think that Gunther is going to win that title. Still, I told you it may not even happen at SummerSlam. It's going to happen, or between now and SummerSlam. It's going to happen later, like in the fall. But we'll see. Gunther, let's talk about this match. Right off the bat, bell rings. Gunther dumps Zayn out of the ring, even before the bell. Zayn comes back, dumps Gunther. So we're going to see a lot of dumping throughout this match. Dumping of Rhodes, dumping of Gunther, Zayn. Even the referee gets dumped out of the ring. At least he gets pulled out of the ring, right? A couple times. Rhodes and Zayn did a wrestling exchange with Gunther on the floor, right? Gunther pulls Zayn to the floor, sends him to the ring steps, back in the ring. Gunther delivers offense on Rhodes. Zayn jumps Gunther from behind, but Gunther again dumps him, again drops Rhodes with a chop for a near fall. Zayn back in the ring, jumps into a chop from Gunther, who then dumps Zayn with a back suplex. Gunther breaks up a pin by Zayn, the top rope splash. I don't know if it was this one or the next one. I'm pretty sure it was the next one. They did not look so great. That splash looks a little weak. Like it looked like he was trying to make sure he didn't hurt them, but at the same time make it look like he was breaking the count. Anyways, he hits these power bombs. Those look good. Zayn works to counter Gunther several times. Eventually lands a haluva kick on Gunther. Zayn goes to cover Gunther. Rhodes yanks the ref out of the ring. Outside the ring, they're all attacking each other. Rhodes, Zayn, fighting around the announce tables. Rhodes hits a double Cody cutter on Zayn and Gunther. Then a suicide dive on Zayn. I do not like these double cutters, right? This where all of a sudden he's attacking both guys at the same time. That's way too past my ability to suspend disbelief. So please, got to knock that off, WWE. Gunther hits Rhodes with a powerbomb for a near fall. Broken up by Zayn, again back in the ring. Zayn sends Gunther into the steel steps, scores a near fall. Rhodes with a blue thunder bomb on Rhodes. Rhodes gets set up for a haluva kick. Gunther pulls Zayn back by the feet into the ring post for a low blow. Zayn drops Rhodes with a brain buster. Gunther splash breaks up the pin. That's the one I really didn't like. Gunther power bombs both men, one after the other, but Zayn counters his power bomb attempt into a sunset flip bomb for two. That was the best move of the night. The way Zayn counters Gunther, his power bomb, and turns it into almost like a Canadian destroyer. That looked cool. If you're gonna go back and watch this match, be on the lookout for that. So. Lands a haluva kick on Gunther. Rhodes pulls the referee out of the ring. Again, on the floor, Zayn tries a package pile driver on Rhodes, who counters, back body drop through the announce table. Gunther hits the first powerbomb, to send Rhodes into the Arabic announce desk, right? But the desk doesn't break. He then hits the second powerbomb that puts Rhodes through the table, and then he grabs Cody back in the ring, applies a sleeper hold. Rhodes fights to his feet, lifting Gunther on his back, slams Gunther on the mat to break the hold, but Gunther then locks the sleeper right back on. Zayn returns to the ring just in time, holds Cody's arm to prevent Rhodes from being considered unconscious, and that would thereby ending the match. Gunther delivers a chop to Zayn. Zayn fights back, hits a haluva kick with Gunther kicking out at the last second. At that point, I was really thinking, okay, they're fine. They're going to give it to Gunther. Gunther had Zayn set up for a powerbomb. Rhodes hits him with an avalanche, Cody cutter, right? They trade some finishers and sleepers before Rhodes hits a double crossroads. The worst spot of the night. As far as I'm concerned, it was terrible. God, did not look good. Rhodes tries to hit a second crossroads on Zayn. Zayn escapes. Pulled the roll up on Rhodes that would secure the win. And almost after like a quarter of a century, right, in his wrestling career, secures his first world title in WWE is Sami Zayn, right? You get a tearful Sami Zayn with his world championship. Jumps into the crowd to celebrate. talking about 10 years I've been with the WWE. Really has, yeah. People saying they'd never do it. He'd never do it, but he has. Here he is. Corey Graves, Michael Cole talking about this moment. Great stuff. So that's your ending. I mean, that's your Night of Champions. Am I happy with it? For the most part, yes. I mean, it was the build. I mean, there's something going on with what is it about these promotions? Their builds are so terrible, and then they give you a show like this where they deliver what we want, but getting you there is so bad that it's almost as if it doesn't make sense when we get what we want, right? We have no idea. Like, we now have to wonder, for all the wrong reasons, what's going to happen with someone like a Brock Lesnar. Is he going to come in, and are we going to get OBA FEMI versus the big, idea? Even now, Bully Ray Dudley on Busted Open is talking about this idea, right? He's probably the first person to talk about it. 2-night event, SummerSlam, give OBA double duty. Great. I mean, he really is the guy that's being pushed. Might as well do it, beat it into the ground with 2 nights. Night 1, that's the night you have him face Sami Zayn, okay? And take the title. Then night 2 is when Brock Lesnar is like, I want a title shot, and if you beat me, then I'm done. If I can't beat you for that title, I might as well hang my boots, and that's it. So night 2, I mean, that could turn out to be the main event of the whole shebang, and it would make sense. Zayn versus OBA FEMI would maybe start the show of night 1, as crazy as that sounds. And then Roman Reigns versus someone like Seth Rollins could end night 1. And then we have the night 2. Or, like I said, I just don't see Roman Reigns not main eventing one of those nights. So the other idea I was thinking is that it's Brock versus OBA to start the show of SummerSlam, one of those SummerSlams. But this being his true final match, if they're going to do that, it would have to be the last night, the last match of the last night, Brock Lesnar versus OBA. Here's the other thing, though. I do want to point this out. I'm not completely, inconsiderate of this point, which is that Brock Lesnar is not necessarily retiring. His contract ends soon. He could easily just let's go another year or two and have another match with OBA FEMI way down the line. And he could just kind of lurk in the shadows, waiting for OBA FEMI to be most vulnerable with that and with a world title so that he can attack OBA FEMI and take the title. That would be the most opportunistic. Why would he go after OBA FEMI when he's not with a title, right? I'm not the only person to say that. Plenty of people online have said that, and it makes sense to me. So, and that's your review. Let's talk a little bit more. We've pretty much covered Seth Rollins and where this is all going. I think he's going straight after Roman Reigns. I honestly think OBA FEMI is going after Sami Zayn. He's going after the WWE Championship. Yeah. How we get there, I have no idea. I could be completely wrong, and I wouldn't be surprised. I would get it. The obvious choice after his promo with Jey Uso and his seemingly momentum towards Roman, yeah, I get that. But after everything we've just discussed, it makes more sense for him to go after the WWE Championship, pull the title off of Sami Zayn, and then that's that. Obviously, I wouldn't mind if he goes after Reigns, because then that leaves Gunther the opportunity to go after Zayn at SummerSlam and take that title once and for all. Because if it's Zayn versus Gunther, Gunther is definitely taking that title. Okay? And then we could see something like OBA FEMI versus Reigns, and then an attack from Lesnar. Because I'm telling you, Reigns is not dropping that title. That's the thing. That's another reason why I think OBA should go after the WWE Championship. There's no way they're pulling that title off of Roman Reigns this early. Okay? He's holding on to that title for the rest of this year. Well into at least until Survivor Series, at least until the Royal Rumble. He's probably not going to drop it till next WrestleMania in Saudi. So, yeah, a lot of things to consider. Well, that's that. It's been fun, guys. I'll have this video up in the evening time, and yeah, if there's time, I might try to do a review or predictions for Monday Night Raw. I can't promise anything. They're going to do a double taping for Raw and SmackDown, right? Because they got to go, and it's going to be, I believe, in Jersey, Atlantic City, I think. They're going to go to UK. They're going to go back to Europe for another tour. So, yeah, it's not looking too good for this week, but I'm sure it'll be, hopefully they'll have it, a stacked card with a bunch of matches and, some good stuff to consider. But, yeah, should be interesting. It's been great, guys. Make sure to hit that like or subscribe button at Channel Cortez. It is, I can't believe I haven't said this already. Tonight we've hit a history-breaking record in Germany for the hottest day in recorded history in Germany. Hit 106 Fahrenheit. Okay, I believe that was 43 Celsius. It's been brutal. Yeah, I'm I can't tell if something's biting my leg or something or what. It's terrible. All right. But it's been fun, guys. You have a great night, and talk to you guys soon.